So what I'm going to do, I'm getting prepared right now for the digital American Bankers Association podcast. So I'm all prepared. I have everything ready. Have all my notes, anything that I need to share. I don't know what questions that Penny's going to ask, but I'm prepared and ready to go, ready to answer those questions. And as you can see, I'm on the Heritage Bank website right now, looking at the vision statement and the mission statement, because this is definitely something that I want to be able to share on the podcast. So hopefully, we'll see how this goes. Um, the 4 minutes and counting before she calls in. So I just wanted to give you guys a look see of the podcast and what that looks like and how I prepare and and then you can listen in live. Just look over my shoulder, or not over my shoulder, but look directly at me and see, exactly what how I'm preparing and how I'm going to answer these questions. So I've done years and years of preparation. Um, I'm a part of a certified marketing group of digital marketers. So, we're always pushing each other and we have information that we put out there. And we share that information with each other. And we have a private Facebook group where we connect with each other. So it's always good to have resources like that because, when you're working in this industry, things change so quickly that you need to be prepared for, anything because, no one person knows it all, but when you have the knowledge where you can share with other people and you know exactly what you want to accomplish, then and you have a group of people that's putting information out there and we're helping sharpen the knife and sharpen each other and help make each other better, then that's really the only way that you want to do it. So it's 3 minutes before the call, so we're gonna see how this works. I got a lot of battery life on my laptop. Phone, I just plugged it in, so I'm ready for that. I got I got everything ready. Got my phone on silence mode, so that's on silence. So that should not, nobody should disturb me. I'm in my home office, up in my home office. So just waiting for that call to come through. So just going over my notes here, just looking. This is the value worksheet, journey worksheet. I urge everybody to really I urge everybody to definitely fill one of these out for your business. So if you do any business with Web Mobile Fusion, before we get started on any long-term goals or planning anything with you, working on anything, we are going to you're going to have to do this. And we'll sit down with you. We'll do a consultation session, and we make sure that one, we're a good fit for each other. We'll see if that could be accomplished through this meeting, and two, what products and services you want to market, who you want to market to, how you want to do it, and by the time we walk out of there, we'll have a concrete plan on what we need to do for your business. So I do this up front with everybody, and it helps just to make it that much simpler, because if you're going to be investing money into your business, you want it to succeed. You want to succeed and you want to know what's going to happen. So we're also creating a playbook that you can have. You can call audibles on it at any time. No, well, pun was intended for football reference, but uh, we have a playbook that we're creating that's also going to assist with you as a customer knowing exactly like what is going to be accomplished here. What is the goal, what's the end goal, and what's going to be accomplished. So waiting on this call to come through, and we'll see if go ahead and get rocking and rolling. So it's 11 o'clock now. We're supposed to start the podcast at 11. So just waiting on that. I wonder if, hmm, wonder if it was 11 Central Time or 11 Eastern. I didn't even ask that question. Well, looks like it may be 11 Central. Gee whiz, I didn't even ask that question because I don't think she's on the I don't think she's on the East Coast. I think she's in Texas, and I think in Texas um, they have some Central Time. Hmm. So let me make sure I didn't get any emails. That might be the case. Gee whiz. So I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. Um, I have to make some adjustments here. Mm-hmm. Even think about that. Hmm. I'm gonna send her an email and ask her if uh, we were supposed to be 11 because if it's 11 Central, then obviously it's gonna be 12 o'clock here. So um, I know my family's gonna be home, and I got a 3-year-old, and she's gonna want to bust in. So let me see. Let's see what's up here. So this is how you juggle being an entrepreneur, and you're running a marketing agency, and you also work for a bank as the marketing director. So I want to give you guys both sides of it, so you could see, how that's all juggled, and how that works together. You don't have everything, all perfectly in it, and everything's perfect. Every day is something new. So I'm gonna shoot her an email here. See. Okay, so I shot her an email and asked her if we were still on for 11 because it's 11:05 Eastern right now. Um, and I didn't confirm if it was Eastern or Central. Didn't even didn't even look at that. So yeah. And by the looks of it, since it's 11:05 right now, and I hadn't gotten any calls, that means it's going to be 12. So, still got all my notes. Luckily, I had some meetings canceled today. So, what else do I have on my schedule for today? I had some meetings canceled, so I could tell you what I got on my schedule. So I was supposed to have a 8:30 meeting this morning that got canceled. Then this podcast here at 11, which I had 11 Eastern, but obviously it's 11 Central, which means it's going to be 12 noon my time. Then after that, so that should go from 12 to 1 or so. And then I might try to squeeze in. I got another client that wants to, that wants to talk about their marketing and talk about their platform. So I might, hmm, I may, I may get them in on this 11 to from 1 after the podcast. So from 1 to 2, and maybe I could talk to them on the road. We'll see. And then I have a meeting at 2 o'clock, the ad agency, because we gotta go over some stuff for the bank and also for Web Mobile Fusion, dually, doubly. So I'm gonna be meeting with those guys. Then then I have another meeting at that. So that's from 2 o'clock. Then at 3:30 I have another meeting set up. Um, right, right next door to the place where I'm meeting. So I'm meeting in the McDonough Square. So um, we could work with that. So I'm gonna see if I got a return email on that. If I got a return email, and it's Friday, people are going out of town. Um, see if got any response. Okay, so she did say it was 11 Eastern. So in other words, now, so she said she was having um, trouble trying to reach me. So let me try to get her on Skype. See what's going on. Paste. I'm calling right now. I'm calling. Hello. Hi, this is Lincoln Parks. Hey, how are you, Penny?
Hey, how are you?
Doing great.
Good. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I was having trouble reaching you on Skype, but I'm glad we connected.
Oh,
How
definitely.
are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, sorry about. I don't know what happened with the with Skype. I had it open here because I have it on my phone, and so I don't know what happened. I need to look into that.
Yeah, we wondered if you've got a privacy setting on. It's just a guess, but I don't know.
Could be. Could be. I wouldn't doubt it.
So, anyway, it's very nice to meet you.
Same here.
And I thought, the kind of work you do is really interesting, and I think it's kind of important for these people. I don't think you've been to our digital banking conference before, but
I have not.
it's a lot of people who oversee like mobile banking apps and banking websites and things like that.
Yes.
And it's their job to get people using that stuff and make sure it's working well and has innovative features and things like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I feel like the part that you do, which is kind of like reeling people in, is important and maybe doesn't always get as much attention as it should.
Right.
So,
Yes, it does get overlooked quite a bit, but it's becoming more and more critical now for a lot of organizations. So I think as we continue going, and that's why I'm so excited about the conference, because I'm coming there to learn, from all the other speakers that are there. But my little piece, I think, it is very, very important if it's done right.
Yeah, sure. So I want to ask you a little bit. Did you see the Twitter snafu that Chase had a few weeks ago?
I did not.
Okay, if you want to quickly Google Chase Twitter and like blow up or snafu or something, you'll see they sent out this tweet that was kind of I think it was meant to be funny, but it came across really badly because it's kind of like snarkily. It's like a conversation. I'll say this in the actual call, but it's like a conversation between a customer and a bank bot.
Right.
And the customer's wondering why his balance is low, and the bot is pointing out, he's spending too much on coffee and taxis, things like that.
Right.
And then the customer finishes the conversation by saying, "Well, I guess I'll never know," and it just, because of who Chase is, it came across really badly.
Right.
Did you find it?
I'm looking at it. I see it right now. Yes.
Yeah. So it got all kinds of angry responses.
I see that.
Elizabeth Warren and other politicians. So I thought my first question might be about that.
Okay.
And how can banks strike the right tone?
Definitely.
And then I thought I would go into, what other mistakes do you see financial institutions make? And then I thought maybe we'd get into any SEO search tips you might have, and any suggestions you might have for banks trying to develop a presence on Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media sites.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
So that's kind of my plan, and I think we'll go for like 15, 20 minutes ish.
Sure.
That's our typical amount, or I always assume people have short attention spans. So,
yes.
So you want to give some substance, but not go on forever.
Right.
I don't know if you've heard of these podcasts that go on for 3 hours.
I have, and I can't hang in there that long. Right. Yes. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. Welcome to the American Banker Podcast. I'm Penny Carlson. As people continue to do their banking online and in mobile apps, and fewer people walk into bank branches, reaching new customers becomes a matter of digital marketing prowess. Lincoln Parks is a director of marketing at Heritage Bank and founder and CEO of a company called Web Mobile Fusion. He's going to be one of our speakers at our upcoming digital banking conference. So Lincoln is going to share with us some of his tips on what banks get right and wrong about social media. So welcome, Lincoln.
Thank you, Penny, for having me. Good to be here.
Sure. So Lincoln, I think you saw the recent little blow up that Chase had when it posted a tweet on Twitter that was, I think, meant to be funny. It was kind of a conversation between a customer and a bank chat bot.
Yes.
And the customer is asking, why are my balances so low? And the bot is suggesting that the person spends too much money on coffee, spends too much money on cabs, and so forth. And at the end of the conversation, the customer says, well, I guess I'll never know. Yeah. And, I think it was meant to be funny, but it came across kind of poorly because of who Chase is, I think. There were immediate reactions from people like Elizabeth Warren and other politicians who talked about things like, why doesn't Chase pay its workers a living wage, and why does it charge so many fees, and why does its CEO make $29 million? There was a kind of a snarky backlash.
Right.
What do you think that banks ought to keep in mind when they are posting messages to try to, I mean, humor, I'm sure, does work sometimes.
Right.
But what should they think about when they're, trying an attempt at humor so that they avoid this kind of outcome?
I think you know what when they did that, I'm thinking they sort of had an idea of who their audience was, and they know who their audience is, obviously. But when you're trying to be a little, it's a thin line, very thin line when you're talking about being funny, snarky, getting away with some things. I don't know if you've ever looked at Dunkin' Donuts. Twitter feed, they can get away with a lot of it because their audience is sort of identifies with them. And I think this is the first time that Chase has ever even tried to do something like this. So their audience, it sort of caught their audience off guard as to, oh, we've never seen this type of tweet before from from Chase. So it really caught their audience off guard. And what I would caution is if you want to go in that direction, make sure that a subset of your audience that and you would have to look at your audience analytics inside Twitter so you can see what's my audience talking about, what are they interested in, is this going to resonate with them when I post this out there, because as you can see, it can backfire on you. So you definitely have to make sure that you do a little bit more research on it, and don't just take it for granted. Just take your audience for granted and say, hey, this is something that we're going to try, because you have to know that it's such a thin line with balancing that act of I'm going to be funny when you really had never done that before. I know right now with automation and AI, that's happening right now. I know a lot of banks are jumping into that automation. Automation is really, really important, but it's really critical on how you set it up. And I think what a lot of banks are making a mistake where they're setting the automation and they're just leaving it and forgetting. So that human aspect, that human element is now it's missing. So a lot of people are just turning it on. They're allowing bots to answer questions and interact with their audience, and they're losing that human element. So it's a balance that I think right now a lot of banks need to incorporate and be conscious of, because if you just turn on a bot and you leave it, uh, obviously you can have people interacting with a bot and they're not going to get the answer that they're looking for. So this is something that Heritage Bank is also working on right now, and we're being very, very cautious as to we know who our customer is, and our audience is a little bit of an older audience, customer base. So we know we're going to have to be careful with it because we don't want to turn them off, but we do have some younger customers as well. So we want to make sure that we have that balance. So we have people manning some of our automation tools that are on our website. So making sure that you keep that human element visible in your digital presence.
Do you have a human watch every interaction with your customers?
Right now, we do. We have a team, and this is something fairly new that we're rolling out. We have a team that mans our chat automation feature on our website. So we're going to be rolling this out. We've been testing it now for the past few months, and this is something new, that even if you go to our website right now, you probably won't see it because we're rolling it out next week. But we have tested this over months. So we have a team of folks that they're going to be manning the chat on our website. We're going to have some automation features built in, but at the same time, to route people to where they need to go, but we are going to have a human team that's there answering those questions for our customers.
Have you seen anything so far? Are you seeing any themes in terms of what the bot can do really well versus what a human should really be set assigned to handle?
Yeah. So what we're seeing and what we've experienced during our testing is we when the customer is on a specific page on the website, we want the bot to engage the customer to let them know, hey, somebody's here. If you have a question, definitely respond to us. So it engages the customer in that way, and then it asks the customer based on the page that they're on. What are their needs? What do you need help with? So we pre-program some things in there based on the page. And like I said, we have to be very careful with it. But what the bot really helps us out with is where we're routing people to. So we have specific teams, our product teams, we have our sales guys, and we have some of our retail bankers, we have our business bankers. So it allows us to gather information, which is the most critical part. And so we can identify who that customer is, and then based on what their needs are, the bot routes them to that human group or team. So we're finding that the information gathering phase right now is what it's best for.
Does it do that through, say, keywords, or is there like a drop down menu where someone can choose the type of product they're interested in?
Yes. So it gives them an option. If, say, for example, they're on our online checkout page, they're looking for a specific checking account. It's going to ask them. We see that you're on our consumer checking account page. Which one of our accounts are you interested in? And it's going to list out all of the checking accounts that they may be interested in. When they click on that link, then it automatically responds based on what we programmed on the back end. And from that, then it asks them for some personal information, what's your first name, last name, that type of stuff. Sometimes customers don't know that they're interacting with a bot. And then when they fill that information out, it automatically now reroutes and assigns to a group based on what they're answering. So yeah, there are drop down features where they can click on it, and it automatically responds to them that way.
Total like interactive voice response for the chat generation.
Absolutely. That's exactly it.
Mm. Well, so that sounds like an interesting deployment. And is the ultimate result going to end up being greater efficiency, do you think? Less reliance on having a big call center full of customer service representatives?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What we're trying to do is we're trying to streamline, the amount of and not taking away people's jobs, but making sure people are in the right place in the bank, and they're doing things that they absolutely love. So the team that we have right now that's doing this, we've gone through and identified, hey, who would like to do something like this? They all rose their hand that they wanted to be a part of something like this. So what it's doing, it is allowing us to streamline a little bit better, where people are, where's their fit, you know, in the bank, and what are they best at, and that allows us now to really do a better job for our customers.
That's interesting that people raise their hand for that. It feels like at least something different, if not somehow an elevation of their current job.
Definitely, because when we talked about this and we told people about it, that we were going to thinking about rolling this out, a few months ago. A lot of people, they got excited because they're like, "Oh, I do business with Verizon right now, and this is the way that I really communicate." So if I go on their website and I'm doing business with my cell company, then I do a chat. I might be multitasking, so I'm chatting with the person, and I have my kid over here that's asking me to get something, but I'm engaged in the chat. And, on the back end, we know that you can have multiple chats going on at one time. One agent can have multiple chats going on at one time. But again, it's keeping the attention of the audience. So once we started getting a lot of feedback from some of our customer service reps that, yeah, this is something that I do right now, with the other businesses that they do business with, we decided, hey, this might be something that we could implement at the bank to really, really help us out, where we're not, we can reduce the phone calls at the same time because we get an abundance of people that are visiting our website. and we didn't have a way to interact with them. So, it was a good way, and we could see through analytics what they were looking for and where they were going. So we made sure that we were smart to implement the bot on those pages.
Is yours a situation where you're kind of training the bot to learn how to answer questions itself over time? And so eventually, do you anticipate forwarding fewer of these interactions to humans and letting the bot handle more of them automatically?
Absolutely. There is a machine learning aspect to the bot. So, as we answer questions, and right now it's a little bit of a manual process, but once we gather over a few months where people are going and what they're looking for, and tying that in with our analytics, there is a way where we can program in that we're going to allow the bot now to take over, so that it'll be a little bit, people will be interacting with the bot more, but we want, like I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that we don't go too far too fast, because we're keeping our audience in mind. They're still the older generation, so we want to make sure that they can still interact with us. But we do want the bot to eventually, over time, we think once we get all the analytics in, that we can put some more programming.
Do trying to get the bot to recognize any kind of sign of frustration, like someone repeating a question, the same question multiple times,
Yes.
or using language that makes them seem angry,
Yes.
or annoyed or something. Are you trying to build in some wires like that as well?
Absolutely. And there are functions in the bot that allows us to have trigger words. And so through those conversations, we're going to be watching that. We're going to be watching exactly, what gets someone frustrated. We have two a team, just one or two people right now, that's going to be a part of their job, is to monitor, through the reports, exactly, okay, what are we seeing? What are some of the trends that we're seeing right now? And then adding in some of those trigger words, sentences, phrases that, like you mentioned, if someone's repeating something, if they feel like this isn't a human element, I don't feel like I'm being treated well, we can jump in and interject and make sure that we make some changes so that, they can feel a little bit more comfortable with the interaction that they have.
I know your purview goes way beyond the chatbot we've been talking about. Are there any other initiatives the bank is taking, say, in its social media efforts, or even on the website itself, or its SEO optimization, that you think is really helping the bank with digital marketing, helping it reach out to bring in new customers?
Definitely. I'll tell you one thing that I'm going to be talking a little bit about at the conference, and that is the customer journey, and what that looks like from a digital perspective. So I'm going to be breaking that all down on what the bank does along the way, and here is how we do that. And I just want to outline this really quickly, because there's so many aspects to digital marketing and how banks can really benefit from it. So there are like 7 or 8 different areas. So a customer journey, if you look at it, you start with awareness, and awareness is making sure that people are aware of you, making sure you're there. I know our CEO Leonard Moreland, when I was being interviewed for this position, the first thing he asked me was, how do people become aware of us? Why are other people going to other banks and they're doing business with other banks, but they're not doing business with us? And the first thing I said is awareness. You have to make sure that you're showing up where people are searching in their normal typical day. We want to make sure that they're not that we capture them if they're searching online, if they're on YouTube, if they're on Facebook, if they're on social. We want to show up. So the first thing is awareness. Then we have to engage with them in some sort of way. So we need to through our chat bot, or through a blog post or something like that, that's going to engage them a little bit more. Then we have to have them subscribe So once they subscribe to us, they find some information that they're really interested in, like I mentioned, a blog post or a video or something that really, gives them some financial tips. Then they subscribe to our newsletter, or they subscribe to our YouTube page or whatever that is, and we have their information as a customer. Then what we're going to do at that point is now we're going to try and convert that individual. So we're going to again put information in front of them based on their needs that they indicated. I'm really interested in a retirement account, and based on that, we're going to give them more information, more help on their retirement account. So we're going to feed them specifically that. Where a lot of banks make mistakes are they gather a big, huge database of people and they just mass email, people out, information that really I don't need. How many emails that we get right now in our email inbox, and you just want to hit delete, 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 delete. I'm not interested in it. So what we try to do is we try to identify what are their interests, and then we want to give you more of that information so you're continuing to ask for it. And then the next stage is the excite stage, where we want to make sure if you do business with us, if during that onboarding process and during any interaction, be it online or offline, that we have some element of excitement where it's how we treat you. It's that sort of the Chick-fil-A motto where you are just blown away by either customer service or whatever it is, any interaction that you have, as I mentioned, online or offline. So you're excited. And then from that point, we take you to what's called the ascend stage, where now we identify based off of analytics and also you interacting with us. What else are you interested in? What else can we help you out with? So you might have a kid that's getting ready to graduate, and they're looking for some funding, to for college. So we can identify those things, and then we place those things in front of those customers and see if they're interested in that. And that's the only way. From that point, we move you on to what's called the advocate stage, where now once we've excited you, we've offered you some other products and services that you're really interested in. That now we can ask them for a review. We can ask them to write a review for us online, or video testimonial, or whatever that is, or a case study. And we ask for that, and we get that feedback, and that's something that we again publish out. And then the last stage is the promote stage, and this is where your customers now become your evangelists, and we don't even have to do anything, but they are out there promoting Heritage Bank, and they're promoting how our people treat them. And that was the process that I explained to our CEO at the beginning. It's sort of like when I met my wife. I didn't just, for the first time, I didn't just go up to her and say, hey, I want to marry you. So she would have slapped me if she did, if that would have, so it's sort of moving along that process, making people feel comfortable, giving them exactly what they're looking for instead of mass information that's coming your way, and sort of streamline that. So we take them along a journey that at the end of the day, they are absolute evangelists. So I know you mentioned SEO, and those are tactics that are a part of this journey. But the first thing that we need to do is to make sure we identify where the customer is along that journey, and then take them from that. Absolutely, Penny. I look forward to meeting you as well. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
All right, good. I thought that was great.
Awesome, great.
So thank you very much. I think I'll run this soon because you are launching that chatbot
Yes.
next week. I don't want to let this sit too long.
Yes,
So,
yes.
We do push out our podcast on Tuesday morning, or early Tuesday morning. So
Okay.
I will try to share a link with you as soon as I can.
Okay.
And then if you want to share it too, that would be great.
I definitely will. That is a part of my plan. Actually, since we are so close, to the event, I have something planned where I am, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed here that it's going to work. So I am going to employ some of the digital strategies that I'm talking about to folks that are coming to the conference, and I want to fill up my session. So if that works, and if my plan goes well, which I think it may be, then I'm going to reveal that also, from stage, exactly what I did.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I appreciate for you having me on. It's great.
Sure. Sure. As I said, I look forward to meeting you in a few weeks.
Same here.
All right.
Okay, take care. Bye bye. Tough.
Hello.
Lydia.
Did you do the podcast?
Yep, we just got off actually. You were calling in, and I was still on it. So
Okay, okay, okay. They were emailing me saying they couldn't reach you.
yeah, so what happened? She was telling me that she was saying she couldn't get me. I had Skype open and everything, and I don't know what happened. Um, I had it open; it was on the page, and I might, like she mentioned, I might have like some privacy setting or something in there where it's blocking people from just calling me. I think that's what I did because I had a lot of people like spamming me and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I made that setting where I had to call people instead of them trying to contact me. So I think that's probably what it was. Yeah, so I called her. So what I did was I sent an email and I said, "Was this supposed to be 11 Eastern or Central?" Because I know they were in Texas. And then she said, "Well, it's supposed to be 11 Eastern, which is now. It was 11:05 at the time." And then she said, "Do you want to try reaching out to us?" And she put the handle in there, and I just put it in Skype and called them, and boom, we went from there. It was good, man. It was really good. I talked about yeah, it was really good. I talked about the customer journey on what I'm going to be talking about from stage, and I just gave a little highlight on that, and then I also talked about we talked about Chase Bank. They had a tweet that they put out there, which didn't really identify with their audience, and they got a lot of backlash from it. They were trying to be kind of snarky, like kind of funny, and she was like, "Well, how can banks prevent that?" Because Elizabeth Warren, shot back at them, and they were trying to, yeah. So it got some really big press, and I said, banks need to be careful to identify who their audience is because you know, especially if that's not the tone of voice that they used before. So you have a tweet and you're tweeting, but you've never had that tone of voice before, and then you put that out there. That's gonna catch people off guard because that is not your voice. You've never done that before. So I think they were just trying something new, and it just backfired on them. So I got it pulled up right here. So the tweet was like, okay, so it's like a bot going back and forth with the bank, right? So it was like you. This is when I say you, that's like us, the customer. So it says you. Why is my balance so low? Bank account. Make coffee at home. Bank account. Eat the eat the food that's already in the fridge. Bank account. You don't need a cab. It's only 3 blocks. You, I guess I'll never know. Bank account. Seriously? So, so what it was, right on the person. Yeah. So, instead of, you know, giving a reason why the bank account is low, don't tell me to make coffee at home. You know what I'm saying? But it's a way how you do it. So so we got into talking about bots and got into talking about that we're implementing that at Heritage Bank next week on our website. But we're also going to have a human element to that because we're going to have a team of folks that's going to be manning it. So I talked a little bit about the importance of, having automation, but at the same time, having balancing that with the human aspect. And then we're going to have machine learning over time where it learns some of the things that the customers are doing. And then we could sort of back those people out a little bit so that the bot could take over just a little bit more, but still keep that balance, knowing that our customer base is an old customer base. So we don't want to throw them off either. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to throw them off totally where it's like, oh man, what are you guys trying to do? So anyway, it went well. It went really well. Um, yeah, yeah. Actually doing this, you know, made me even more confident about the presentation. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be phenomenal. I'm happy we got it. So, yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, that was a question I needed to ask. I wonder if they're going to be recording it. Um, because if not, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to set up my phone somewhere on the stage or in the audience that can record it. Um, yeah, can you ask Michelle if it's going to be recorded? Because if it is, then that's great. If not, then I got to make a plan to have like a wireless microphone hooked up to my phone so the audio can be good, and then I could set it up so that that works when I'm going up. Yeah, yeah, cool.